One thing is certain. If you stick to the word, you will come back with a testimony. What God wants. Because of you. You live because of him. He doesn't exist for you. He made you. You exist for him. There's a difference. So you have to live to please him. He doesn't live to please you. So in this great fellowship, we have to know what he wants and to live according to his will. And there is where your life is really fulfilled. You see, remember who he is. Who are we dealing with here? We're not dealing with some kind of friend, that we met somewhere and we chose him to be our God in a sense. No. You're dealing with your creator. He made you. And that recognition is important. So just because you think you chose him to be your God doesn't mean that you do what you want and expect him to accept whatever you do. No. Even in terms of your offerings, you don't give him what you choose, what you like. You give him what he wants. And right from the first book of the Bible, the book of Genesis, he established that reality. Tells us about Cain and Abel, two sons of Adam and Eve. And they brought their offerings to God. And the Bible says God accepted one and rejected the other. And let him know why. So that's important. And in fact, he said to him, you didn't divide it correctly. Now, you don't immediately see that in the King James translation or, some of the newer translations. You have to look at the Septuagint to see that. So you didn't divide correctly. So, in other words, God determined what he wanted, and he was watching how it was being set. And so Cain decided, this is what I'm going to give to God, and this I'll keep back. So God said, no, you didn't divide correctly. Let me read it to you from the original Greek into English. I want you to follow how it says it.
Yes, sir.
I hope you can make sense of it. This is Genesis chapter 4 and verse number 7. I'll read first to you what you have in the King James translation.
Yes, sir.
In the King James it says, if thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And, there's been a lot of controversy over what exactly does that verse say. It's a lot in there, and it gets really confusing. If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. So they go, so what's sin? Sin lieth at the door. Does it mean sin is at the door? Does it mean sin offering is at the door? What in the world is sin lies at the door? And unto thee shall be his desire. Who's this he? So, but the Septuagint was written, or rather the translation was done long before this Hebrew into English that you have. But so let's read it. Let me read it to you from the Greek. If not rightly you brought. Are you following? I said I'm just going to read it raw. Okay? So when you listen, you're going to think, what does that mean? Okay. If not rightly you brought, rightly but not divided, you sinned. Be still, to you shall be his submission, and you will control him. So that second part is very easy. But the first part, what he's saying is, if you have brought rightly, but not divided rightly, you have sinned.
Yes, sir.
You see it?
Yes, sir.
For example, you're supposed to give your tithe. So you're supposed to divide it rightly. What is the tithe? The tithe is 1/10. Okay, so you're bringing to God what you say is your tithe. He says, yes, you have brought the tithing correctly,
Yes, sir.
that you're bringing a tithe, but you didn't divide correctly,
Yes, sir.
because this is not your tithe.
Yes, sir.
You see it? So that's what he was saying. And the King James translators and lots of other translators didn't get that. He was talking about dividing rightly. So he says, you brought rightly, but didn't divide rightly. And so he says, you sinned. So that's what he said to Cain. All right. So what I'm explaining to you, the spirituality of life. And that's what I began to tell you yesterday. The engagement of the human spirit